Hi, today I'm here with A Far Cry from Africa by Derek Walcott. Helen Wendler calls Derek Walcott a divided child. The reason can be sought for both in his life and in the division in his poems. Derek Walcott's two grandfathers were white, and his two grandmothers were from African origin, and they were black. So he was divided between a European kind of origin and race, and also an African race, or we can call him a multiracial kind of man. And this made his life a little bit difficult because he was always supposed to choose between being European and being African. However, he had somehow resolved this in his poems by choosing to write in the language of the European part of him, English, while he dedicates the subject matter to Africa. So this is how this division is prevalent and represented in his poems. A Far Cry from Africa is, as the title shows, is a poem about Africa and the problems and the difficulties of the African people. And also it is written in English, but I have to mention that, and if you notice yourself, the English of the poem is not a normal English. There are many difficult words in the poem. It's as if he's showing off somehow his knowledge of English. So this Caribbean poet here is playing with the idea of colonialism. You know what? Derek Walcott has an idea of the resolution of the colonial attitude. He thinks that colonialism had somehow ruined both the colonial and the colonized subject, and he thinks that or he brings forth the idea of the new Adam. By the new Adam, he means an Adam which is anyway sinful, but he has accepted his condition in the new world. So instead of just complaining about the colonial condition, or instead of showing off your force as a colonial and colonial power or empire, he thinks that we have to accept that we are the new Adam, passing off the experience of colonialism. Let's go and read A Far Cry from Africa. A wind is ruffling the tawny pelt of Africa. Tawny ruffling means to disarrange, disorganize. Tawny, the same color as the font shows. And pelt is used informally for a human being. Means a person's hair. That's it's informally used for human beings because actually originally it's used for animals. Pelt of Africa, and by using the expression pelt of Africa, he has an ironical viewpoint, or he's showing it. He thinks that the African people are treated as animals, as we will see in the rest of the poem. Kikuyo, quick as flies. Kikuyo is the name of an East African tribe whose members were actually fighting against the British colonial settlers in Kenya. Quick as flies, batten upon the bloodstreams of the veldt. However, these Kikuyu soldiers or fighters are dying one after the other because it is not an equal fight. They are fighting with the British army or the British Empire, and they are just a militia, and their weapons are not as strong as powerful as they are used by their European counterparts. So he thinks that they are just making the veldt, the grassland, the paradise in their uh, full of blood or bloody, or they are watering the land with their bloods. Corpses are scattered through a paradise. So paradise's kind of beautiful scenery is, in terms of its natural beauties, is somehow polluted by the dead bodies. Only the worm, colonel of carrion, carrion means the decaying flesh, cries, why is no compassion on these separate dead? Separate dead because, anyway, the soldiers are both from the British party and the African party, and when they are dead, they are dead. And it is Worm who is actually the vector over the vanquished, whether they are they are African or they are European. So if you're dead, you're dead, and you're the food of the worm. So don't kill. That's it. Don't fight. And then statistics justify and scholars seize the salience of colonial policy. While these fights continue, because the British are not confined to leave those African countries, and the statistics show and justify that they have to take hold of the prominence of the significance of the colonial policy. Because if they lose a colony, then they could lose money, material, or natural resources. So it's important for them to keep the colony, even if it versus the dead bodies, to if it worth to kill to or the massacre of the African people. If you kill them, because the statistics show that we have to keep the colony with all the force we have. What is that? So what is the murder or the massacre of the Africans? What is that to the white child hacked in bed? If a white child is killed in his bed or his body is cut with a knife or something, then they would the media would make a mess about it. There would be many drama of it. But if the Africans are killed one by one, if a mass of the Africans are killed, the media don't care, sorry. To savages, expendable as Jews. What is that to savages, the Africans, expendable as Jews? We can consider these Africans as the Jews who were killed by the Nazis. So he is comparing the British Empire here with the Nazis over empowering over the Jews or the Holocaust or something like this. But as the Nazis justify that the Jews are malicious, that they are sick, that they are this and that, here the Africans are justified to be harmful for the human beings or for the British Empire in specific terms. So it is justified to kill them. And their lives, like the lives of the Jews for the Nazis, is not as important for the human community in general, because they are not enough human. They are human, but not enough of it. That's why they are even compared to animals. And here in this part of the poem, we have another image, the image of hunting birds, threshed out by beaters. The long rushes break in a white dust of ibises whose cries have reeled since civilization's dawn from the parched river or beast teeming plain. When they want when they want to hunt these birds, there are people called beaters. They beat over the ground, so a harsh noise or striking noise is made, and the animals are frown are just uh, let's say not frowned, but they are in a state of shock. So they are afraid maybe of the sound. They are feared. So they start to just fly, and then there are some people ready to kill them with their weapons. So that's it. In a white dust of ibises whose cries have veiled since civilization's dawn from the parched river and parched river because we are in Africa, beast teeming plain, the violence of beast on beast is read as natural law. Okay, if an animal kills another animal, it's the natural law. But upright man who walks on his 2 feet, seeks his divinity by inflicting pain. But man does something else. Man doesn't hunt in general. They do hunt, but as animals, like animals do. But when they want to give pain to one another, they do something else. Delirious. The word delirious means in a state of wild excitement, ecstasy, as these worried beasts, man under the influence of the ecstasy or being highly excited becomes an animal, as these war beasts, his wars dance to the tightened carcasses of a drum. A drum, a drum has a beating sound, like what the beaters do. So man is also triggered with such a voice, such a sound, let's say. So if they beat over a drum, man also becomes as excited as wild as animal, while he calls courage still the native dread of white peace contracted by the dead. Uh, while there are some Africans who want to fight the younger generation, on the other hand, the older generation, the older members of the tribe think that peace is possible. But the younger ones do not, so they fight. The poet doesn't take side here. Again, brutish necessity wipes its hands upon the napkin of a dirty cause. Again, the Europeans justify the killing of the Africans because they want to fight. If they are fighting, if they are excited for war, let's fight them. Fight. Fight against them upon the napkin of a dirty cause. So they wipe their hands, wipe the blood over their hands by good justification of it. Again, a waste of our compassion. As with Spain, he's talking about the Spanish Civil War against the dictator. The guerrilla wrestles the African with the Superman. So this is what the media shows: the Africans as animal and the European as the Superman, the white man as the Superman. So everyone would naturally take the side of the Superman. If I'm not mistaken, it was some years ago uh, when Michelle Obama was called a gorilla with high heels or a monkey with high heels. So even today, such a stereotypical cliche way of treating or others, the Africans, the Afro Americans, is prevalent in some white societies, and it's racist, of course. I who am poisoned with the blood of both, poisoned with the blood of both. I'm curious with both of them being European, the blood of Superman, and with the blood of the African or the gorilla, where shall I turn? Divided to the vein. I'm divided even to my veins. All my being is a divided being. I who have cursed the drunken officer of British rule. How choose between this Africa and the English tongue I love? I love English, but how can I choose between a superpower, between an empire who kills others who are innocent, or and actually the ones I love, the African blood with whom or with which I also somehow identify myself. Betray them both or give back what they give. How can I face such slaughter and be cool? How can I turn from Africa and live? So the poem ends with a series of questions because the poet is now failing with that dividedness and he's not resolved somehow. Anyway, the poem ends with this question, and it's up to the reader, up to the audience of the poem to decide for its ending, if it has any ending or a resolution or a denouement. So this was my explanation. I hope you've enjoyed it.